Hello, everybody. So, as promised, I'm going to be talking more about my personal experience at the Monroe Institute. So, I've already done a video last week on my Tuesday Night Live more about kind of what the process of the Gateway experience is, what it's like if you do it online instead of in person, and also talking about some of the other programs that they have at the Monroe Institute, like Discovery. But as I said, it was such an intense, beautiful, profound experience. I've done ayahuasca in two separate retreats, so 4 times in one retreat and 4 times in another retreat, and honestly, it is comparable. To go through such a similar experience, but completely sober, completely in control, and it actually took me a little bit more to ground myself back because also the amount of work that you do at Monroe, like it is so beautiful, but it is around the clock work. You know, we start very early in the morning doing 4 to 5 meditation exercises, all about 45 minutes to an hour each per day. And just to give you a little recap of the other video, but I'm not going to get that much into the logistics because I already did a video about that. You can see it. I'm going to create a playlist here. So you'll be able to find something along the lines of my experience at Monroe Institute, or I went to Monroe Institute and never came back. That's like the title of the video, or just click on my page if you want to find it. So I do want to give just one little bit of context so you know where we do these meditations. So there's a group room where you have like a debriefing where each time you're about to learn something new, you go to this room, you talk to the facilitators, and the group asks questions and has a discussion. Then you go back to your room where there is what they call your check unit, which this is a little cubby that is your bed in the wall. So you are also sleeping there every night and you are doing all of your meditations there. And it is very cozy, comfy. It has a blackout curtain. So the first night we get there, late at night, we do our first meditation after a little bit of explanation about the Monroe sound science, the Hemi-Sync technology, about Monroe Institute. And, I took a red eye the night before. So I was fighting for my life to stay awake during that. And I felt so bad. I felt so like I've given lectures in busy conferences before, and I hate when people start falling asleep, but I realize a lot of times to come to a conference, people have had to travel a lot that day, so I try to not take it personal. And because I was fighting to stay awake. But then we went back to the room to do our first meditation. So I have like so many notes. So I'm just going to kind of go through and discuss my normal notes. So the first meditation that we did was we introduced the resonant tuning. So this is basically kind of an om, an ah, a oo, an e, whatever sounds. Now, a lot of people tend to go towards om. But for the last several months, I've had a lot going on, all amazing things. As you guys, if you follow me, I just got married. I'm leaving LA after living here for 14 years. A lot in my life has been changing. A lot has been going on, and it's beautiful. Everything about myself has changed. I'm completely like every day a new person. But I've been having this thing where, and of course, the algorithm is so specific. I've had this there's like a thin muscle that they say kind of comes from here to here. And this like very thin sheet type of muscle, you guys probably know the name, you can comment it, is just a thin thing here, but actually it's one of these muscles that holds a lot of repressed voice, repressed emotions. And now I'm always talking. I never shut up. So for me, having a throat chakra imbalance sounds like bullshit. I know. But it's easy for me to say what I have to say, to express myself unapologetically. But actually, I've been in my softening era to my cozy sweater and my light colors. I'm in my softening era. I'm in my feminine era. I'm going into this new version of myself. And that is where my throat has been blocked, is this softer, more tender, more loving, sweeter, more vulnerable. That's really where I feel like it was just feeling like I'd try to stretch it and my jaw and all of this. So this resonant tuning exercise, which is basically, like I said, it's an om, an ah. As we go into the headphones, blackout curtain. You could just roll over and fall asleep right there if you want after the meditation. It is the first day, first time trying it, part of this gateway experience. And I love that in the recording, Robert Monroe says, "And now it is time for your resonant tuning. And don't worry, you can be as loud as you need. You will not disturb anyone." And I just really allowed myself to kind of be like, ah, didn't have a roommate in the room. I was like, okay, I got the permission. I'm not going to disturb anyone. Nobody's going to hear me. Everybody's doing it at the same time, so they can't hear anybody else over their own oohs and ahs and ohms. And I was just like, I allowed that out. And what I wrote in my notes was it literally felt like a massage with these Hemi-Sync technology, the Monroe sound science, bringing you to this altered state. And I was like, oh my God, it just finally, after months, started to relax. And, that's something that you guys can probably practice outside of the Monroe Gateway experience, is really just oming, or just make noise. Just allow yourself to sit there and just make some noises and allow all of that out. Cause I literally felt it. Of course, I'm sure the Hemi-Sync technology really assisted in that because it gets you into these altered states. But this was the first night and I was already feeling, and I was exhausted. It was just so awesome. And then towards the end of this meditation, it started to get very visual for me. I saw black hair, but then it had an oil slick rainbow to it. And then turned around, it was like a crow or a raven or something. And it had rainbow type of oil slick. It was like a luster. And then that was it for the night. Laid down, sleeping. So then the next day we come back in and we really have our first full day of meditations. And this is we really start to get into the gateway process because, people had been traveling all day. This was really just getting you started. So then we really get into focus level 10. So focus level 10 is mind awake, body asleep. So when I had talked about this in the previous video, some people were like, oh, is it your body is paralyzed? No, it's not that serious. When your body is asleep, I mean, if you ever see someone sleeping, they move around, you move around. You're not in the same position that you went to when you fell asleep. So you can move, but you're so relaxed and comfortable that you really don't have to or want to as much, but you can if you want to. And so then the next exercise was the energy conversion box. So this is a really beautiful technique that I think you guys can also implement into your meditations and anything, even outside of Monroe. But honestly, this Monroe experience was the way that they kind of introduce a new idea, a new level, a new topic, and train you a few times throughout the day in that topic. And then the next day, they allow you to kind of guide yourself through that as they introduce something new. So it's really timed out for you to be able to now you get really good at your resonant tuning. Next, they bring in the energy conversion box. So this box is a box that you create inside of your mind. And at the beginning of your practice, at the beginning of your meditation, you put everything that can distract you, that can take you out of the moment, that's taking up space in your head, anything that is not for you to deal with right now in this 45-minute, hour to long meditation. Anything that you don't need to deal with right now, put it in there. So this is another thing that you guys can do at home. And you create this box. So this box is also supposed to be very heavy, and the lid is so heavy that only you can lift it. So now, don't put people in the box, okay? They're very specific about don't put people in the box. It's not, we're working in the astral, we're working in the quantum. I really experienced the things that happened at Monroe did ripple out. There was people in my life, almost everybody in my life that is in my immediate circle was having dreams about me while I was at Monroe. So I do think it was similar to a family constellations, quantum, whatever you want to call it. What I was recoding and healing was rippling out into the world of the people connected to me, entangled with me. So don't put people in the box. However, you can say if somebody's on your mind, put the feeling of that person in the box, put the idea of that, put a photo of that person. Now, for me, I had just put my entire phone in the box because I was like, you know what? I'm putting the entire phone because to me, while I'm there, I didn't need my phone, which my phone right now is on TikTok. He said, sounds like a Vipassana where there's a retreat strictly for meditation. Yeah, but this is different than Vipassana because this is also like scientific and using technology. But I've always wanted to try the Vipassana, and that's 10 days. And it's all silent. We do have a moment of silence coming up in the later days after we start to integrate some of this information. So, okay, so this energy conversion box. So mine was like this thick box made of amethyst, and then it had a quartz crystal top. And so, yeah, nothing can open it, nothing can come out of the box. So what I actually did was I put my physical body in there. So what I would visualize is myself stepping into the box and then zipping out of my physical body and then having my astral body step out of it. So I put my phone, which represents anybody who's trying to contact me, anybody who I'm connected to, any of the outside world, any of the social media, any of the pulls from anything, that all in the box. That was not for me to deal with at that time because when I've done my 2 past ayahuasca retreats, I obviously knew I was going to post about them. And so sometimes in my ceremony, I would start to think about, oh, I have to mention this in the video, or oh. So that was something that I was very specific that I didn't want to do at Monroe. And I wanted to be selfish. It's not selfish, but I was like, this is for me today. I will share, and I always do openly share, but this is for me. So I really resisted I put the phone in the box and I'm like, that's it. There's nothing about posting. There's nothing about the internet. There's nothing connected. And also, you don't really use time while you're at Monroe. They don't tell you what time things are. They ring bells. So you can really disconnect from the outside world and really disconnect from like, how long is a meditation? What time is it? And that's also freaking freeing. Okay. So some people were putting their brain in the box. And it's not a prison. It's not a trash can. It's really just, can you hold this? And can you convert this energy to something that I can use now? And also we learned the affirmation, which I don't have in front of me, but it is the beginning of the affirmation, which is the most important part, which is, you are more than your physical body. I am more than my physical body. And that's where, we really, because Gateway is a experience where you do have, or one of the possibilities is an out-of-body experience. So focus level 2, the second meditation. I did talk about this in the previous video, so I'm going to kind of go through it a little bit quickly. I kind of accidentally unadjusted my headphones. And the headphones are very important in this because the headphones are using the binaural beats, Hemi-Sync technology, Monroe sound science, to create an altered state. So they have one frequency in this ear, one frequency in this ear. And the difference between those frequencies is what creates the binaural beat, which creates the third sound. So, for example, 100 hertz in this ear, 104 hertz in this ear, the difference is 4. So it's wong, 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 is what your mind creates from it. And that's what starts to create the altered state, because I think 4 is like in the gamma range. And, a lot of people ask about the 528 hertz, the solfeggio frequencies, all of those things. I did ask someone that was one of the techs at that does a lot of the newer technology, the more advanced technology that they have now than the ones Robert Monroe originally created. And he said, like, yeah, we've done stuff with those, but he's like, really, like, we have the brainwaves. We know what is most effective for us. So they're like, you can. They're like, all frequencies are going to work however you like want them to and use them and stuff. But they're like, but this actually with the brainwaves creates altered states and assists going out of body. So, they're not just like spiritual. This is all scientifically backed. So I go into that and, okay, so my headphones kind of start not working in one side. And I was like, oh, trying to adjust. Because on the wall, you have like your sound, your speakers, because you have your headphones and you have speakers in the wall. So if somebody wants to take off the headphones, they can do this as speakers. So I put the speakers louder so I could hear. And then I'm trying to adjust between the ears. And then I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to release it. I'm going to release frustration. I'm going to just get through this. Obviously, this is happening for a reason. Obviously, there's a reason why I need to overcome something right now. So I was like, you know what? Let me just get over it. So I pulled myself back in, and then I really felt my body start to get heavy. And, you know, in the Kabbalion, which is crazy because Mitch Horowitz was there. Mitch Horowitz is the narrator of the Kabbalion. So there was like so many things I was bringing up about the Kabbalion. And then I'd be like, look at Mitch, like, you're here. So my body got very, 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 very heavy. And then mind is everywhere. We think our mind is in our head or our brain, but the mind is everywhere. Everything is mind. Mind is in the whole body. Mind is outside of the body. This is why we can do these out of body stuff and things like that. And so my mind felt all like leaving my body and just congregating in the top of my head. And I felt so separate from my body, but not outside of the body. I felt like my mind went against like the back of my skull and was like as separate as possible to like show me the difference. And I really felt my body in a way that was like, so first, as this started to happen, I heard someone breathing, a woman breathing in the headphones. And then I was like, is that Maya, the instructor? Is she breathing in there? And then I'm like, wait, but this headphone is not working. How can I hear her breathing? And then I realized it's me breathing. My body, I was feeling separate from my body. Please do not try to join. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Sorry. I'm sorry, guy. You need to go. No, sorry. Can you disconnect yourself? Okay, I'm going to stop the whole thing. Bye, guys. I had TikTok running in the background because it helps me. This Arabic guy, how he tried to come into my TikTok and I accidentally just pressed the button and he came in and he's trying to do, I don't know. He was trying to do like, you know, sometimes people do like these battles on TikTok for like points and oh gosh. Lord. Okay, we are back, but okay, anyway. Okay. Everything, right? As I'm talking about just going with things and allowing things to not work and allowing frustrations, right? Okay. All right. We're back, you guys. That was something else. Okay. I didn't know how to stop him. That was weird. I know, that was crazy. I didn't know how to get rid of him. I was scared for you. Anyway, all right. Okay, so glad you came right back. That was weird. Okay, my chair is all creaking. Okay, so instead of like fixing my headphone, moving on, exactly. Okay, so so I felt my whole like consciousness congregate in the top of my head. And then it really like made me feel like almost like kind of like sorry for my body, not in like a pity way, but just in like a damn girl. You've been through a lot of shit. You're holding on to a lot of stuff. Like there's a lot. This is, you know, like this is heavy shit. And I felt like, you know, the whole body keeps the score thing, that the body keeps a score. It felt like this score was weighing me down. And then it felt like almost like a weighted blanket, and my body felt like a cage. And I started to like breathe really heavy because it was like freaking me out a bit because I haven't felt that disconnected from my body before. And then I literally was like, not screaming like a horror movie, but like, ah, like I was like, what the fuck is this? And then it was almost like painful. And then I felt like I had to pee really strongly. And all the sensations in my body like started to like really like take over. And then I started sobbing because I felt like my body was so separate. And I felt like gratitude for my body, but I also felt like a little bit drunk too. So I start coming back down. And then as I started to come back down and they counted us back down, I was like, oh my God. I like changed my clothes and put my hoodie on and like walked out of there to go back to the debriefing. Like, that was really intense, guys. And then so some of the other notes I have here is around like clicking out. So like if you're somebody who kind of like falls asleep during meditation, but it doesn't feel fully like falling asleep, it feels like you're not awake, not asleep, but you also don't remember. This is one of the things that they talk about as you start to go to like other states of consciousness or other levels. And especially as we're moving there very quickly using the Monroe sound science and this Hemi-Sync technology, you start to go to these altered states, not only very quickly, but like moving up very quickly throughout the day and over the days. So we start, talk about the clicking out thing because some people started clicking out. And one of the techniques that if you are somebody who falls asleep when you meditate or when you're doing this type of gateway experience or you're doing some type of, I also used similar sounds in Mark Serto's Triad Mind. So if you guys see my interview with Mark Serto, he was the original sound engineer on these original Hemi-Sync gateway experience tapes. So now he has his own program called the Triad Mind, and he also still does do work with the Monroe Institute. And so I would click out a lot during his stuff because his is like new stuff. We were listening in the gateway experience, like these original tapes. I would click out a lot and I'd be like, I know I wasn't asleep, but I don't remember anything that just happened. And like time went like that. So learning about the clicking out was important. So they say if you're laying down, you hold your hand up, and as you start to fade or go, your hand will drift. And so you could just keep your hand up while you're meditating. And so then we have also something called the REBAL, which is spelled like rebel with an A. So it's the resonant energy balloon. And this is basically the next thing that they introduce into the teachings. And this is basically, we use this a lot in a lot of spiritual stuff, but I feel like this is kind of like something that maybe got popular from like Robert Monroe's work. And you basically create like an energy bubble around you. And so we did a reball exercise, which was really cool, where you kind of work with a partner and they kind of, you project your reball out. So we did it in the waking state and they kind of feel your reball energy. And then they kind of tell you where they feel the parameters are. And it's really interesting. Like, you partner up with someone and it was really like accurate. Like I was kind of like feeling the reball of my partner. And then I was like, oh, why does it feel like it disappeared over here? Because I was assuming it would have to be a circle. But then she said it was more like sausage shaped because she wanted to see if I was really feeling it. So I was kind of going around in a circle and then I was like, why does it seem to not be over here? And then also I was doing my reball, but then I thought like, oh, this is kind of like a fishbowl. So then I kind of started seeing it as a fishbowl and she was moving around and then she was like, did you just change something? And she felt that too. So it was like showing us that like we can feel these energy fields if we consciously like work with another person to like affirm that it's working. So then I saw myself as like the energy reball. And I also started using like kind of to get myself to level 10, I created these anchors in my mind. So I would go from the feet and have them relax and then be like, the light number 1 comes on. 2, the light comes on. 3, light comes on. And work up my body, and then 10 is above my body. So I would relax the whole body, and as that part became relaxed, turn on the light, turn on the light, turn on the light. And then this is how, because I've used other things like Silva method and QHHT and other hypnosis techniques, I like to create anchors in my brain for me to assist going into these altered states. So every time I see these images, I can get there quicker. So that's another technique that you guys can use that I kind of started to implement. So another thing that was weird is that like the first couple days, every time as I would start to go to level 10, and then so You're using each of these techniques, building. So now you have 3 techniques to go in. So then each time you have your preparation process. So what they're doing is each time they're introducing something new, and then they start to guide you less through the previous step so that you get more comfortable doing it without the recording. And so these random women would pop in. They were not like goddesses or, guides, angels. They were more so like regular women. Like one was this like woman at Disneyland. Another one was this like other woman sitting on a porch. Like they were just regular women, just regular people, like all different races, all different colors, all different things. Like they would just like in the beginning of my meditations as I would start to kind of go. And it almost felt like a little bit like if you're trying to fall asleep on mushrooms, I would start to kind of see these things, sometimes fractals, and then there's a blackout curtain. So you can also open your eyes, and your eyes could be open for parts of the meditation, and you're still in complete darkness. So there would be times I would open my eyes and you're in darkness, and I'm seeing like fractals. But you know what I noticed is that, on psychedelics, the fractals are more pointy, sharp, geometric. This was more wavy. So it was similar to psychedelic fractals, but they were wavy, almost similar to hypnosis spiral, but like combined with psychedelic things. And then I would open my eyes, I would still see them. So I really felt like I felt really crazy after that last one. I was like, whoa, what happened with my body? We talk about it. We go back, do another level 10 exercise. And I feel myself doing the same thing with my body. But then over here, I keep feeling like this thing. And it's like, honestly, like I won't even get into the details, but it's like something that happened recently, a few weeks ago, that made me feel like kind of insecure. And then I was like, it kept popping into my head, and I had already like addressed it. I had already gotten, it was already like fine. It was not a big deal. And then it kept coming up, and I'm like, why is this like literally? So I was like, okay, let me see if I can go back and put it in my box. But I couldn't. It was living here in like my chest and neck. And I'm like, what? Why does this keep coming up? So then I kind of saw myself getting cleansed, and the water was all dirty and then washed out. And then I brought myself getting cleansed again, and then the water was clear, like soapy water. And then I was like, oh, this is a fear of betrayal. And now that I'm a bit separate from my body, I can see betrayal is living in like pockets of my body all over from these past experiences of the last 36 years of my life, feeling betrayed by all different people, a lot of times relationships and men and stuff like that, and feeling these pockets all over of like almost like hardened or scar tissue, but they're like dead, they're dormant, they're like dead virus energy. And this newer thing that is not even a big deal is like active because it's like brand new. It was like a couple weeks ago. And I was like, oh, okay, why is this coming up? This is ridiculous. Okay. And then, yeah, so I was trying to push it away. I was trying to get it like, and I was trying to rationalize it. And then I'm like, no, like, come on, you don't need to worry about this. And I'm already like playing out the thing in my head and being like, this is nothing to worry about. And we're still at like level 10. And then I like start like kind of blowing it out. And as like the water is clearing me, I'm seeing water clearing me, which usually water in a subconscious state usually is emotion. I've also seen this in QHHT where I've had clients who have had water retention, and they wanted to know what is the thing of the water retention of the, different things that have caused them to retain water in their body. This is emotions. This is why with emotions we use words like bottle up, because water is emotion. So like in dream state, water is emotion. So I'm seeing the water come up and cleansing and then clearing out, and then coming up and it's less dirty and it's clearing out. And then I'm blowing out while I'm doing it, and I'm getting all panicked again. I'm crying. I cried like every meditation, and it's crazy because I don't cry usually. But every time I got into that little cubby and got into there, I was like, ah. So then I was like, okay, I'm safe. I'm fine. Like, I don't have to worry about this. This is fine. And I really feel it clearing. And then I'm like, this is just a tool. This is just a tool. This thing that is triggering me, this thing that is coming up, this thing that is upsetting me, it is just a tool. Because right before we went into the meditation, the facilitators told us if we had no beliefs, we wouldn't need tools. But because we live in all of these beliefs, we need tools in order to do things, to kind of deconstruct these beliefs. So then I'm like, this is just a tool. This is just a tool. And it's just new enough that it's active, that I can activate it. And then it becomes a map of how around my body this stuff is all still living. These fears of these things happening to me again are still all waiting to be activated. And this is just like, oh, is it going to happen again? Oh, are you going to be betrayed and hurt again? Is the rug going to get ripped out from underneath you again? Is the other shoe about to drop again? And I'm like, rationally, don't think that. But my body is like bringing the attention to all of these things. And like I said, my consciousness is feeling, again, very pulled up just to the head and separate from the body. So then afterwards, we have like a few moments before, like maybe 15 minutes before lunch. So I walk outside, I see the grass, I see like kind of different people around in the grass, and I just kind of don't look at anybody, and I just like plop myself into the grass, and I have my eyes closed, and I'm just laying there, and no blanket, no towel, no nothing. And then I open my eyes, and I have seen this place before in real time. This is not a remote viewing. This is not an astral travel. I did a betrayal releasing exercise in Hollywood Park in like 2018 or 2019. And when I opened my eyes after doing this thing to release all of these people in my life who had betrayed me, done things to me, and then I looked up and I saw this tree and there was light shining through it. So always, like in meditation, for a time after that, I would use that place as like an anchor of like, okay, I'm going here to heal. And I'm going to use this image of this real place that I went to, that I really did this meditation on the grass there in Hollywood. Now, mind you, Monroe Institute is in Virginia. So I'm in Virginia, I'm laying on the grass, and I open my eyes. It's the same exact tree with the same exact shape of leaves, the same exact branch, and the light is shining through. It was like, it's not biolocation, it's not astral projection, it's not remote viewing. It's like literally like a glitch in the Matrix. But it was literally those things that I healed, that I forgave those people then. I like opened my eyes, and it was like the completion of like being able to release it all of these, anything that is still remaining from those, from others, from everything. And so, yeah, then like spiders, ants, insects are all like kind of crawling on me and shit. And that's another thing that happens. Like when I was in Peru with ayahuasca, or when I was in Costa Rica, a lot of times as I'm going into the psychedelic experience, the journey, the medicine experience, even times I had done mushrooms, I see insects a lot, and not in like a creepy, the craft way. I love insects. So I don't, to me, that's not like a nightmare. I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. And what I see it as like, is this like large community of billions and trillions of things that are like supporting the earth, that are like supporting me. So a lot of times, like when I'm going into like something where I know I'm supported by something bigger, there's a lot of insect activity, or I see insects like I have right here. My mantis made of selenite. And then I have my other mantis, this is a natural glass. This is the old model. This is the, look at this beauty. So, and I have a lot of, I'm not going to get distracted. Anyway, so then the next like thing we talk about is kind of the three important things. We come back, we debrief, we go over stuff. Intention, attention, and perspective. These three things are like very powerful for all we go into. Okay, so actually we end up taking a walk down to the lake. There's a lake on the property on Roberts Mountain. We did not make it to the lake. It was, I was with Solar Glow, Megan, the dowsing rod girl, and this was really like our first time kind of getting to like really hang out with each other as like a group and go get to do something, because you're doing a lot, and this is only like really the first day, and this is our lunch break. So we go walk down with Chrissy Newton, with others, and then we never make it to the lake. I was fighting for my life. What I thought I was going to get was like this beautiful lake experience, but no. I was fighting for my life. After that break, we come back and we do a Dolphin Energy Club, which is a healing exercise where they actually have had energy healers have EEG brainwaves tech monitoring on. What they did was they reverse engineered the brainwaves of many different healers and turned it into Hemi-Sync sounds and used the actual brainwaves of healers, turn it into sound, and then that's what you're listening to in your thing. And they had like a bunch of, I don't even know if I clicked out that time. That time I think I straight up went to sleep. And I kind of felt bad, like, damn, I'm here to have this experience and I fell asleep. And a lot of people would feel guilt or anger or disappointment or something when they would fall asleep in the exercises. But it was okay. There's so many exercises. So like if you fall asleep and you're there, like, or you click out, like, it's totally fine. There's so much more to get and so much more. And you're always exactly where you need to be. So I come back and I'm like, I completely clicked out of that exercise. And the facilitator was like, yeah, kind of everybody does. He's like, I don't know if it's the reverse engineering of the brain waves of the healers, but he's like, majority of people click out on that exercise. So, but this uses like a dolphin energy to have you be able to heal yourself or to heal others. Unfortunately, I did not learn that. Okay, theta is 4 hertz to 8 hertz. Okay, I'm looking at my notes here. Gamma is the range of 30 to 150 hertz. And so one of the things that we kind of learned too is that gamma is aha moments. So they find when people have aha moments, these show gamma in their brain. Okay, so then we go do a free flow, and I realize, I kind of, again, kind of cleanse these old wounds. And I just think about like, I also got this message during that around like with my husband is that like, I love him to death, like, I mean, I've never loved anybody that much. But like I was saying around like my throat healing and each time we're doing the resonant tuning and and then I'm crying every time and all of these things. And like, I'm very comfortable communicating all types of stuff that people are uncomfortable communicating. Sometimes being tender, being loving, saying something sweet. Now, at my wedding, when I had like my closest friends there, this discussion that came up at lunch was like, people were like, Jenn gave me the best compliment that I've ever gotten in my life. And then my other friend was like, yeah, actually, she's given me the most thoughtful, specific compliment in my life that was like not generic, that was so beautiful. Like my friend, I told her that I was just like, like kind of was telling her that like, kind of like the greatest thing that somebody could like experience is literally being the child of her and her husband. They're just incredible, incredible parents. Like, but it's just like, it's very specific to like, and it's genuine. And so it was coming up in my mind during this meditation, like all of these people are like, Jenn gave me like the most beautiful compliment that I ever got in my life. But it's more like, it's not like, oh, honey, baby, love, you're sweet, you're beautiful, you're the best. They're not generic. But sometimes then those tender things, I like literally have a blockage around saying them. So then, and this has come up in my meditations before, that it's basically like telling me like, you need to call your husband honey. It's not that big of a fucking deal. And, I had to like kind of work on like, why? Why do I feel uncomfortable kind of saying pet names or saying things like that? Like I can literally be like, wow, you're the most this, or you have these qualities, or like, I mean, I think my husband is, listen, I ain't saying nothing about no men out there, so don't take it personal, but I think he's the greatest man that I ever met in my life. And that is true. But just like the tender, soft stuff, I struggle with, and I have a blockage around it. So yet again, in another meditation, this has come up of like, but he needs that. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try. And then I'll like think about it. And then I'm like, I'm choking. Please, I'm choking. I'm like, okay, what was that? I'm like, okay, sure, honey. Forget it. I'm still working on it. But it's really like in the past, I felt like it wasn't safe to be vulnerable. It wasn't safe to be those things. So I'm still like, and then this is like, it's been like told, like, you're completely safe now. Like, my husband is very strong, very loving, like literally perfect for me. I have nothing to worry about. I have nothing to, you know, it's not going to like backfire. It's not like any of these things. And it's really just like, you know, okay. So some other things that happened. I tried to go out of my body, um, but I felt sticky. I felt like cheese pull, like you see the videos of the cheese pull. I felt like cheese pull. Like I felt astrally a little bit, but like cheese pull, when it's like you have like a mozzarella stick and it has like the string of the cheese. That's what it felt like. Like my astral body like couldn't get out. It felt like sticky. And then so I felt like a little bit above, but like just that much above with like sticky. And then okay. And so I would see myself like go outside to these other things. Oh, yeah. So another thing that came up was this level 2 in Silva method. So in Silva method, you do levels 3 to 1, which is different than Monroe, which you go 1 to 10. So waking level conscious 1 is your awake consciousness. 10 is mind awake, body asleep. So you go up from 1 to 10. I had already trained in Silva method. So Silva method is 3 is physical relaxation, 2 is mental relaxation, 1 is your center. So whenever I would train myself to go to level 2, I would see this man who had no face. It was just skin. He wasn't scary. He was just weird. And he had a gray suit on. I know, very interesting. Gray aliens, maybe something like that. And he would sit in this room that had like a hexagon type of window, but not like a futuristic thing, like an old apartment. And like, sometimes they have maybe not hexagon, but it kind of like comes out the window, and he would sit in front of it and he would go like this. And that's how I would know when I would see him that I was in level 2. So he came up in my thing. I saw him there, but not in his regular surroundings. And it says, okay, there was purplish beings. Wow. Okay, so there was some purplish beings that came up. I totally don't remember this. A past life depression that I didn't hold, that I had in this place. Family of purple beings, acknowledging them and saying thank you. Okay, so then we have the REBAL, right? So this is like the energy ball. So I guess I saw the level 2 guy. I saw these purple beings, but it's like very much like almost like I said, like almost psychedelic. It's hard to say because these things are like coming as you go deeper, and it's very quick and they're fleeting. So I'm glad I actually wrote this down because I had no memory of it actually. So then I have my REBAL, which is, like your energy bubble that you kind of create the energy that you want in or out, or, it could be a protection. If you feel you need protection, I don't believe that I need protection. To each their own. And then so on my bubble knocking was gray aliens, and they asked if they can come in. And I was like, yeah, you guys can come in. And then they were like, but you need to open it up to us. We can't enter. So then I saw myself cut a square in the REBAL, and then gray aliens came in and started doing surgery on my neck and throat and chest. And then Mantis aliens came in right after and started doing some surgery. And then, so every time I do shamanic healing, meditative states, any type of thing, these are the 3 beings that come in. So this is like whatever, my spirit team, as people would call it. It's gray aliens, Mantis beings. This says the Mantis beings have been since I was a child, and the gray aliens have been since I was a child. And then at some point, maybe, I think in 2013 was the first time I had seen the angel. And the angel is kind of like Archangel Michael. Like, I don't know if it is Archangel Michael But that's the energy that I get, is that it is like that type of angel being, that type of look, that type of imagery, that type of energy. I have been told in other things that it's Archangel Michael, but you know, to each their own, whatever you guys resonate with. And then, but I feel what I've been told is that he kind of has this like warrior energy and kind of clears the path for people that are doing certain types of work. So the grays are doing the stuff on me. The mantis beings are working on the other side. And then the angel starts wiping away. Like it just kind of starts like brushing everything away. Oh God. And then this other being came in, right? It looked like a goblin. Let me, there's another invite coming in. Please do not. I don't want that to happen again. That's what the goblin looked like. This is what the goblin looked like, TikTok. So then the goblin was, he said, do you want me to help? And I was like, okay, sure. It was like goblin. And he starts sucking out like sludge from my intestines, from my mind. And then Bob Monroe's voice comes in, Jabba. He does look like that. He does. Excuse me. And then so Bob comes in and starts talking about physical healing. So that was crazy too, because then Robert Monroe will come in at certain points and he starts talking about physical healing. And I had just been experiencing that and talks about body restoration. Okay, so day 3. I have a dream journal. I said I only remember seeing my sister. She had a nice apartment. My handwriting is so bad, I can't even read that morning stuff. Okay, day 3, we go to focus level 12. I'm going to try to move a little quicker here because I would like to keep this at an hour. So in the beginning of focus level 12, now they did something cool. They didn't tell us what focus level 12 was. So they were like, well, they told us what focus level, they said, they didn't want to give us too much information because they're like, we don't want to create what you think focus level 12 should be. So we're going to do a bit of an introduction of what you guys experienced so far, what you need help with, what you need adjustments, what you need answers or clarity on, maybe advice for clicking out or advice for I was really having a hard time coming back into the body after, things like that. But they were like, we're not going to give you too much information about focus level 12 because we want to experience it and then come back and we'll discuss what everybody experienced, and then we'll tell you what the general kind of consensus of what level 12 is. So then as I'm going to level 10, and then I go up to level 12, as I'm starting to get to level 10, I start seeing like very vividly, almost like falling asleep, like dreams. Like, you know, those dreams that you have when you're like in bed falling asleep and then you see yourself walking and you trip? That level of, that's theta right there, you know? So that's where you want to get to in hypnosis, and you get moments of it in hypnosis, but you're not usually there the full time when you do like QHHT or hypnosis. It's waves. Brain waves are waves. They're going to go up, they're going to go down. So you, even if you do hypnosis, even if you do something, you're always going up and down. It's waves. Waves go up and down. So actually, waves go more than up and down. Waves are a spiral. Because when we see waves, this is a 2D version printed. So waves are actually, that's what waves actually do. So if you flatten a spiral, it looks like this. So everything that we think is waves, brain waves, heart waves, waves of light, waves of sound, everything that we think is waves is actually a 2D representation of a spiral. And what is the spiral? The Fibonacci spiral, which is what everything operates on. That's a whole nother thing. Let's not digress. So as I'm starting to like feel like, you know, when you're like falling asleep and you have a dream, I see this hill, like a big grassy mound, and there's people there and they're all dressed in, oh shit, they're dressed like me right now. Whoa. They're dressed like me right now. And so everybody's dressed in like white, a little culty, and they're walking towards inside of me. And I see Patty Dubroff, who I just did a podcast with. She was at Monroe with me, and she was dressed in all white. All these people are dressed in all white, and they're kind of going inward. They're coming down the hill and coming, like, it seems like they're walking into me. But I see myself. So I'm not seeing from me. They're walking into me. But then I see myself, And I'm not wearing white. I'm wearing like peachy, almost like a self-dyed thing. So it's like peachy. So it's a little bit yellow, a little bit pinkish, like peachy outfit that is like the same type of outfit as theirs, but it's a different color. And then I get to the thing and I kind of like get told I'm in the wrong color. And then I'm like, kind of, oh, okay, I'm at level 10. Oh, shit. And then we go up to level 12, and I literally, all of a sudden, next thing, Bob is telling us it's time to come back now. So what they do when they train you to a new level is they'll bring you, say, from 1 to 10, and then you go to 12. And then you come back to 10, and then back to 12, and then back to 10, and then 1. So you go up and down when you start entering a new level so you can get used to it and come back, used to it and come back. And also the frequencies change. So the frequencies, the sounds are connected to these different levels as well. So they help you get to this next stage of altered consciousness. Then I hear Bob Monroe say, it's time to come back now. And I'm like, or whatever he says. And I'm like, I literally, as I came back, the only thing I remember is like a blue quantum explosion. I completely dissolved. And it was like, when he said it's time to come back, I felt like I rematerialized. And I was like, what the heck was that? I don't like level 12. What the? And then it was like a dream that I couldn't remember. It was like a clicking out. There was a memory, like there was something happened, but I just saw the tail end of an explosion, a blue explosion. And then, okay, but what we come back and then they tell us that level 12 is kind of like expanded awareness, inner guidance. This is like, this is where you go to get questions. So then they're like, okay, we're going to go back to level 12. But at level 12, this time we want you to go in with the intention. Now that you've experienced it twice, we want you to go to the level 12 with a question and with an intention of getting an answer to something. And then they're like, but, and you know, the facilitators are so good. We had our facilitators were Arki and Maya. They're so amazing. And like, they just like are cool because they kind of like, these are the rules, but then also there's no rules. This is what you should do, but also break the rules. Does it matter? Yes and no. You know, like they're just very comfortable in the paradox of it all. And our group was pretty good with that. I could imagine that some other groups maybe might struggle with that because people want concrete answers. But like, so one of the things that Maya said was, was asking a question is a different vibration than receiving an answer. So this is something to be in mind when you're doing this type of work. Asking a question and receiving an answer are two separate vibrations. This made me think of a lot of things. It made me think of channeling. It made me think of psychic work. It made me think of a lot of things. And I'm like, that's so true. So if we're in the thing of asking a question, we're actually influencing more than receiving. So actually the answer that people receive in psychic states or channeled states or altered states, if you're in the frequency of asking questions, you're actually outputting and you're probably putting more answer into the answer because you're not, you can't be in both frequencies at once. I mean, you probably can, but like, then it makes sense why channeling is so influenced by the person's beliefs. So I was like, okay. So she's like, think about how to ask a question without using words, without asking a question, so that you don't go completely into a word thing. So they were like, take a moment to get your question that you want to ask in level 12. Because you can ask, it's kind of like, could be from your higher self, could be from guides, could be from a greater thing, could be from the ethers, could be from, it's like, you're just going to go there to get your thing. And then it's like, okay. So she was like, how do you ask the question without words? And I went, well, if asking a question is one frequency and getting an answer is another frequency, I'm not going to ask a question. I'm going to go straight to the answer. Why do I have to ask a question? I'm just going to be in the vibration of receiving the answer. Okay, I don't know. I was like, I got it. Okay. Oh. And so as I get to level 10, I went in with the energy of I'm just receiving an answer. Hold on. Where is my, do I have, I think I have somewhere. I think it starts at 1. I'm about to wrap it up because I think it's like Jeopardy, right? Okay, so as I hit level 10, I got the message or answer to a question that I didn't ask was, be yourself, nothing else is needed. Keep being you and you will be so loved. And it was also like greater. It wasn't just for me. It was like being yourself is the only true way to be loved for who you are, right? And also like similar to what the ayahuasca had told me when it was telling me, I was a lesbian or whatever. And it said the reason you haven't met your soulmate yet is because they can't recognize you because you're not fully being yourself. And even though I'm very authentic and very honest, I was still shielding myself with safeguards and wounds, and I don't want to be hurt, and I can't open up, and I need to shield myself. And what if somebody hurts me? What if somebody lies to me? What if somebody cheats on me? That is not who I truly am. So I was shielding parts of who I truly am, which made me not visible to my soulmate yet. And that's what the ayahuasca helped me with. And that's what all the time, if you're trying to do some type of spiritual work or trying to do your business or trying to share your art with the world, please stop trying to join my live. And so with that, if you're truly not with, what if people judge me? What if I'm not received? What if people don't like me? What if I'm judged? Oh my God, please, my freaking, stop trying to get in my life. So is it the same guy? I can't tell. I'm just hitting decline so fast. And so you can't be fully seen for who you are if you're shielding yourself with those things. So it's not about being inauthentic. It's not about being dishonest. It's beyond that. If you're protecting yourself, if you're shielding your heart, if you're like doing these things to not be hurt, to not be rejected, to not be not chosen, to be all of these things, that is not being fully yourself. So instead of being more yourself in like, I did a podcast with John Jacob Mubarak, who works at Rhythmia. You can look at it on my podcast, Ultraminds. And he did a TED Talk, which was called Unbecoming. Instead of trying to become who you are, you need to unbecome everything that you're not. And that was kind of what it was saying. It was talking like being yourself, nothing else matters. And then that is, you will always be truly loved because that is truly you. And the people who are for you will fully see you and recognize you and will find you. Your soulmate will find you. Your person will find you. So then I go up to level 12 and I was kind of like holding my hand up and trying to like, because I was like, last time I exploded into 10 billion quantum particles. I was the Big Bang last time I went to level 12. So let me put my hand up so I can stop myself from clicking out. And that one said gratitude. It said, let go, let go. There's nothing to worry about. Life is good. There's nothing to worry about anymore. Just like, let it go. Don't have any worries about anything ever again. Like, you're so fucking good. And that's like also too a good reminder because as I came back, my apartment was in complete disarray and chaos and all this stuff. Like you can see there's like some stuff and it's a little bit different and messy in the back and stuff. But really, my best friend Chelsea came over last night and like really helped me like do a lot of clearing of my stuff. So, this is a lot. I'm leaving LA after living here for 14 years. I've accumulated a lot of stuff. I don't want to bring this stuff with me. I'm cleansing everything. I'm being a new me. I'm a new person. I'm a wife now. I'm all of these things. I'm all the things I wanted to be as far as like publishing my book, being an author, having all of like these creative things that I wanted to create and sharing it with the world and being seen for my gifts and all of these things. Like all of this stuff that I've been going through since coming back has been a lot. And I've been releasing things from literally, I had things from elementary school. For someone who's not sentimental, I fucking keep papers. Okay. So then I was like, okay, I got an answer. So what about the answer to my second question? The second question that I didn't ask. So I said, my second answer, like, please, I don't have another question, but what is my second answer at level 12? And it said, be kind. I know. Really simple stuff, right? But it said about like being kind. And then it showed me the image of in my bathroom at Monroe Institute, it said, kindness is never wasted. And so then it was telling me kind of like to my mom, to my brother, to be kinder to the people closer to me because I'm so kind to strangers. And it was like the way that I'm so kind to strangers and kind to people that I meet in all different ways, like a server, a person, you know, doing their job somewhere. And it was like sometimes it's harder to be kind to the people that are closest to us. And not that I'm not. Maybe with my brother, that's true. With my mom, it's not that I'm not kind. It's just I kind of pull back because there's a lot of energy and there's a lot of emotion and there's a lot of stuff and there's a lot of heaviness and there's a lot of re-triggering from childhood and struggles and things like that. And I mean, I love my mom so much. So it's not like I'm mean to her, but I like will sometimes be so kind to a stranger, and then sometimes what it is I'm protecting myself. So sometimes I'm not as kind or as loving as I should be because I like am protecting myself or kind of protecting my younger self or like shielding myself from like getting stressed out or feeling like these things that I felt when I was younger or feeling like, you know, not heard or not like, you know, whatever. And so I'm protecting myself, I'm shielding myself. It's coming back to that same message. And so it was saying like, this is the simple foundation of everything. Kindness to other people is the simple foundation of every single thing. Everything. There's nothing else matters. This is it. This is the big fucking grand message when you figure it out, when you reach the real enlightenment. It's like all this other stuff, the brain waves, the quantum, the timelines, the this, the that, all the shoot up to the highest information. You guys know, like I've doing all of these TikTok series and all of these things where I'll be like breaking down super complex topics. And it's like, kindness is all that matters. Sure, have fun figuring out quantum timelines, this, that, figure it all out, the dimensions. You guys know I've explained all of this stuff through and through, like to such a degree. The fifth dimension, the this, the that, the blah, 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 the Arcturians, the this one, that one, there's ascended masters, Buddha, Jesus, like every fucking thing. Nothing else matters. That's it. Kindness is all that matters to anybody and is all that's it. Forget it all. Go back to the basics. Go back to kindergarten. Go back to preschool. Be nice to your neighbor. So that was kind of like the big second message. I was like, okay, thank you for this answer. And I was like, well, I still have some time. So Robert Monroe hasn't called us back from level 12 yet. So what is my third message? And it showed me in the void. And then my next book appeared in my hands. And it showed me holding the next book that I'm going to write, which I've already known. And I've been embodying the message of that book for like the last few months. So I've kind of been doing in the field work. And then I won't show you, but it actually then showed me one of the most important things to include in the book, because there's this concept that's in the book. I'm not going to reveal it all now. I have talked about it a little bit on my Substack, but that's like, you know, a smaller community. And like, so, which by the way, you guys should come to my Substack because we do some really important work there and you support my work and it's only $11 a month. And we're doing a soul architecture program, which is where we go through each month, one class, and then there's a hypnosis recording for you to like, we're working in a 10-month program and we're on month 5, but you have all the recordings if you join now. But okay. So it kind of like told me like the concept of my book. It showed me a scale of using it as a concept, and then it showed me a scale of using it as a feeling. And it was like, okay, this is what you really need to drill into in this book is more the feeling of this concept versus the concept. Because it says if you use this from a mental place, There's a whole spectrum of outcomes. If you use this from a feeling place, there's only one place. Yeah. Okay. And again, the insects popping up, knowing that I'm supported, knowing that I'm healed. And then so one of the other people, when we came back to discuss their experiences, one of the peoples came back and said, the question is the proof. So it was funny, like their question that they had come to share. And I wrote that down, that I was like, oh, the question is the proof. So for them going to ask this question, their answer was like, the fact that you're asking this question is the answer. And then we did another level 10 exercise in waking state. And I kind of asked a couple more, like, when I move, what should I do when I come back? And it said, like, to see people, some things to do. And then it also said, like, when you're moving stuff, none of it really matters. So it said, when you start, like, packing, when I come back from Monroe and come here, which was now a week ago, it said, like, honestly, none of the stuff matters. So if you have to think about it, just throw it out or donate it. It's over. You've been doing Gateway for 2 years. Wow. Okay, so I think that's where I'm going to maybe wrap up this part. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit just about Focus 12 and finish out, and then we'll come back on level 15. And level 15 was my favorite because level 15, Focus level 15, is outside time and space. And I had an idea to go to the Library of Alexandria because a lot of my QHHT clients, a lot of times when I do past life regressions on people, all of these people end up in the Library of Alexandria, and these clients always say that they have some type of soul contract with me, which doesn't come up in most of the sessions. Of course, I helped them in a way. There probably is. Everybody has a soul contract. Everybody is in a contract, right? But the things that come up around the Library of Alexandria and these specific people, and even the first time I did a group past life regression using Dolores Cannon's group method, my best friend went to a past life in Library of Alexandria. So this thing of Library of Alexandria has been coming up in my sphere without me talking about it publicly. I have mentioned it now a couple times, but all of this happened before I'd ever mentioned it. So when I heard in level 15 we could go outside of time and space, I said, oh, I know where I'm going. Oh, I know where I'm going. And I was given an item there, and I'm going to get into that in the next video because then we'll talk about level 15 and above and some other stuff. But then I bought the item in the physical. So this item that I was given, and we could talk more about it, and then I'll kind of do more research on that, is like, so this is interesting. This is, I think, called like a astronomical sphere. I think this one that I bought, but it also like turns, oh, sorry, I'll show TikTok. So this is but then you see, I can put it down into a ring. So yes, it looks like an angel. So this is the thing that's crazy. So when I came out, I was like, oh, that's like the ophonym of the biblically accurate angels. That's like an ophonym. And then I was like, oh, I talked about it in the debriefing, and one of the other attendees was like, oh, that's the wheels of Ezekiel. That's the chariot of God. I was like, oh. And then I'll get more into it, but then there's a lot more about this. And then I saw something, and then I saw it's also like the shape of a quantum particle. And then this is also like the shape of the ship in Contact. And then I started like really like, whoa. So that'll be in the next part. We'll talk about Focus Level 15. We'll talk about some of the other things that happened, some of the other manifestations, some of the other stuff that then came up. So we'll talk about that next. Also, who gave this to you? In the Library of Alexandria, it was put into my hand by like an attendant there, or like a keeper there. So then when I came home, I saw something pop up on Instagram that said, this is what a German engagement ring would look like in the 1700s. And I was like, oh my God, that's the same shape. So I found one of these online and ordered it so that I could actually have it in my hands, just like the same size that it was in my thing. But then also, too, I saw one at Monroe Institute in decoration after, too. So I have a lot to say about that. So that's like going to be a really cool part. We'll talk about that next. And we'll talk about some other things that came up and some other personal stuff and experiences from Monroe Institute. So go check the previous part. Go check out the interview that I did with Patty Dubroff, because we had a whole nother thing that happened at level 21 that she shared with the group that she talks about on Ultraminds podcast. I'm also going to be soon to interview Solar Glow Meditations, which is Megan, the dowsing rod girl. She was there, and I want to talk about her experiences and some of the things. I would love to also be able to, I'll probably be able to, but I just have to see if my time permits and have to schedule with him. But I think Mitch Horowitz, who was also there, would be open to talking about some of his experience and some of the things. And then this coming Tuesday, well, let's see. I don't know what I'm going to do on this Tuesday Night Live. Also, I'm going to do another video because we spent a day with Joe McMoneagle, who is the greatest remote viewer. Remote viewer number one, who worked with Ingo Swann on Project Stargate. And we got to spend like 3-4 hours with him. And I literally have like 20 pages of notes from Joe. And I'm going to go through everything that Joe said, from what books to read, psychic experiences, him with the remote viewing, some of the testing he's done, and his wisdom. And so, like, stay tuned on YouTube. I'm going to be putting these out over the next couple of weeks. So everybody do the YouTube things. I always forget to say that. I never say it, to like, subscribe, do all the stuff. Maybe you'll do it if you're asked, but I always forget to. So anyway, also bye TikTok. Thank you for being here and assisting me in this energy of recording this video. So, and also check out Monroe Institute. Their app, the Expand app, has these focus levels. So they have focus level 10, 12, 15, and 21 available in the app. So if you have the paid version, you go to the little clock in the bottom, and then you can swipe over and use these focus levels to assist yourself in some of these experiences. Or you can do gateway experiences, which are modernized ones, or go to Monroe Institute. You can do a 7-day thing. They have other programs too. I did the gateway. I also think that the discovery program is cool because it trains your brainwaves. You get to actually go in the EEG. They look at your brainwaves. They look at them, and then they give you tips on how to get to beta, well, you're already in beta all the time, how to get to alpha, how to get to theta, how to get to gamma. And you finally joined the live. Yeah. Coming in like the people who keep asking to come into the live. If you only have the app, just approach some of the deeper meditations with caution, especially with past trauma. Well, anything, right? We're doing subconscious work here. This is serious subconscious work. Subconscious work is not easy. Like, even just what I started with is like, I was literally crying my ass off and eyes out, feeling drunk, feeling all the betrayals and traumas of my past. So that's an inexplicit, indirect warning. But also, I also saw some people comment on my last video like, oh, I'd love to try Monroe, but I'm sure it's infiltrated by the CIA. And I'm like, don't live in fear. There's nothing to fear, guys. Like, fear is the cage. Like, fear of being hurt, fear of being duped, fear of being tricked, fear of being what? Thinking that you're stupid, thinking that somebody got over, thinking that something. It's literally shielding you from being who you actually are. It is, so like some people are like, oh, well, the CIA infiltrated it, intelligence. And so what if it is? I don't think so. I think they're pretty transparent, and actually being there, they really live these principles. They really do. Like, the director of marketing invited us by going to level 12 and asking who should come. Like, they're working in the ethers and they're doing really beautiful things. And all the people that work there are so, like, they live these principles of love, kindness, helping people, support. Like, they really, really do. So after going there, I'm like, oh my God, like, I can't believe that this thing is like a business. I mean, it's nonprofit, but it is still like, they still have to have like marketing and stuff, but like their marketing is like, no, like, how about people that we love and trust their content, invite them and then post whatever you want, or don't post anything at all. Like, there's no obligation. And it was just like authentic, like, talk about your real experience and just be honest. And it was like everything that they did was so like through and through. So like people saying like, oh, they're hiding something, or the CIA, or it's MK Ultra, you got MK Ultra there, or whatever. And it's like, it's same thing like when I did the ayahuasca and I was so afraid of the discomfort. I was afraid of puking and shitting and crying and all of those things. And I was afraid of the pain, afraid of the hallucinations, afraid of not being in control. And then I was like, damn, I can't believe that I almost allowed fear to hold me back from liberation. And that's how I feel with this too. There's that like people who are afraid to do this because, oh, what if they hijack my brain? Dude, don't ruin your own life with fear. And that'll be my final message for this. So anyway, guys, thanks for the love, support, for my squeaky chair. If you can hear it, I don't know if it picks it up on here. Okay, bye guys. Love ya.